Hello, welcome. Who's here? We're live. Okay, I see Jamie. Welcome. I see John. John, where's your alter ego? We want to see. What is the name? I love it. I love it. John is here. Karen is here. Hello, Karen, and thank you. And Bond227, hello, welcome. And if you're watching on a replay, I want to thank you. Hope you enjoy this retrospective of our timeline, our American culture. Now we've been at this for a minute, haven't we? We are now episode 38 in this rewind, and the year. Okay, we're playing along because we look into time and calendars and all of these artificial machinations. I love that word. I don't know if I used it correctly. Did I? Let me know. All right, so we play along with them just to get along somewhat with their timeline and what they claim is our calendar. So I know I've dragged this out. This is the year 2002. So the second year of this new millennium, and we're normalizing the unthinkable in this year. That's the title. Normalization of the unthinkable. Do you remember 2002? Let me know. Was it an easy year for you, or did you have some challenges? Because it was very hard. I am just, wow, thinking about how our country made it through. Now that was a cruel psyop, 9/11, boy oh boy. And now we are going into a whole new culture, a somewhat of a reset, a weird reset. Hey, Molly, look at that. Molly's here. Molly, yay. Molly said you had a tough time 1 year after. Yeah, I'm telling you, it was very hard for me. And I feel for anybody like Karen who lived in New York at the time. Bond is saying those were your college days. Oh boy, lots of studying. Good. Well, you were able to get your mind somewhat off of it, but I know that the college students were put through so much fear, like campus fear. I remember, wasn't that the reason they said Facebook came into play, is because it was a way to connect to other college students if something were to happen. So I don't know. I just did not like the fear and how fear was institutionalized. I don't know a better way to say it. So let's look at our imagery of the year 2002. Let's rewind this timeline and see what we can connect, because it's all about the connections. And we are making amazing connections. I appreciate everybody helping, because again, this is a group project, and we file in all of the what do we call our scholars. We are scholars, so we file in as we can. Some of us are on different timelines. Even in this timeline, we have Joseph over in Ireland. He checks in when he can. I miss Joseph. He is, this is a terrible time for him. I wish I could make it easier for our friends across the pond. I got to think about, maybe we could do like another time add in. I'll see before I promise anything with time, because I'm getting close to completing a big project and I'll free up a little more time. We're always negotiating time. So let's look at this year and see what we can again discern from it. You already see from the thumbnail some of the characters on the stage, to borrow a term from Shakespeare. Don't we love the topic of Shakespeare and all of the tinfoil theories about Shakespeare. But yeah, the world is definitely a stage. And the players that come on and off the stage, they play their roles for this theater. This is definitely theater. And the world is being run by evil theater kids. No, I'm only kidding. Evil theater kids and Revenge of the Nerds. This is the time when the nerds who were always teased and bullied, we're all being treated with their revenge. Okay, everybody. They're lashing out at all of us. Bill Gates, right? He has exacted every piece of revenge for everything he went through. And I know he went through something in school. Don't you know it? Like if you were in school with Bill Gates, did you see what he looked like back in the days? They claim that he founded Microsoft in a garage. You know the origin stories of all of these guys. They founded all of this high tech in a garage, right? Oh, I was sleeping in a van by the river, or I was what do they call it, couch surfing on my friend's couch, and then I went and created Facebook. Right, we're supposed to believe these origin stories. But we know that a lot of this tech was first in the military use, right? DARPA, anybody? Okay, yes, if you didn't know, this is a tinfoil zone. Please bring all of your tinfoil, bring it all. Okay, so we are going into airport security. Yes, thank you. That's Marlon's way of saying, get on with it, Jennifer. Marlon, I'm very chatty. Okay, listen, we're going into, okay, he's trolling me now. Okay, look. Okay, this is what it is. The mood of 2002. Let's get into it, everybody. Who travels a lot? Who has traveled through our various dispensations of aviation history? Who knows the good old days when the skies were friendly and we didn't have TSA? I remember. But there is an irony to my experience with aviation. I don't hide it, right? Right, Juan? Right, Karen? I don't hide that I have a very ironic history with aviation, okay? And I mean history. So my input on it can be seen as, I don't know, maybe hypocritical. Do you think am I being a hypocrite? I don't know. Listen, I was a sidekick. I didn't have anything to do with what happened. Hey, 420's here. Hey, 420. Yay, you're here. Okay, yes, it's great. Molly said Facebook. You said LifeLog. Yeah, that was the original name, right? Facebook was LifeLog. Yes. Molly, you say, I don't travel by air except in your sleep. Okay. You're traveling and flying in your dreams. Yeah. Karen, are you into air travel? You're still okay. Yes, 420. Okay, so let's get into what these airports started to turn into. The mood was quiet, it was heavy, and it was strangely polite, if you can recall. 2001, we were still in shock. And 2002, we were accepting the new normal. They use those terms all the time. You rather take Amtrak? I agree. I would rather go by train now. I do not want to fly anymore. I don't know if I've told you all. It's the most crazy thing for somebody who's been an aviation nerd all of my life. I don't want to get on another airplane unless Trump sends his Air Force One. I would get on Air Force One, okay? That's the plane I would want to get on. Meep, meep. But anyway, so we were accepting this new normal. And people are still in grief And now we're standing in these long lines. This is our new normal. We have to take our shoes off because remember Richard, the shoe bomber? He did his thing. We already talked about him. So now isn't it interesting how you have a guy who gets on the plane with a shoe bomb? So convenient. Hello, Jamie. Welcome. So Richard Reed messed it up for all of us, Professor Molly. Yeah. So you got to take your shoes off. You have to think of, oh, and do I have socks on? If you're wearing sandals and you think about the ickiness of standing barefoot on the airport floor, it's all icky. And if you're a germaphobe, it's the worst thing. But now we're also experiencing a lot of patriotic vibes. So you're seeing flags. The American flag was really everywhere, if you remember it. And people were lowering their voices a bit, self-censoring, and trying to be a good citizen, right? We were coloring within the lines. You didn't want to be perceived as a terrorist. And some men had to think about how they presented. If you are a man that wears a beard, for instance, you may have gotten rid of the beard or thought about it a little bit. So I think we were all on edge, is the best way to put it. Still, next slide. Let's see what else is going on. 2002. It seems so far away, but it really wasn't. Now we're into this security culture, and it's becoming a permanent thing. If you recall, like I'm remembering, the all of the security, the homeland security and everything, it was presented as a temporary. Am I wrong? That's what I remember. We're doing this now while we're in this phase of the war and the war on terror, all of these terms that were thrown around. So when we finish with the war, then things will go back to normal. That's what I thought. I thought we were going to do away with this security culture. I was delulu thinking that they were going to get rid of this stuff. But okay, there's a need for it, I guess. What do you think? I'm over it, and I want to go back to the good old days of aviation if I go back to them at all. I would rather go forward rather than backward. I'm ready for the next form of transportation because it can't just be airplanes, okay? I have flown in a lot of airplanes. I've learned to fly airplanes. I have not flown the Concorde, the supersonic plane. That would be something I'd like to do possibly, but I think I'm over it. I would like to, I think going to the future, as we talk about future proves past or past proves future, why not go to the rails again? Why not make travel an experience of luxury and high culture? Why not slow down so we can see our beautiful country on the ground, not in the air, but yes, in the air, I would say airships, because we have studied the airships and the transportation of the antebellum, I'll say antebellum world, and their use of trains. It was high society, but it was normal. It was normal to slow down, take the train and have your nice room, and I guess you can get off and tour. Imagine companies focusing on rail travel and connecting our cities and towns again, because our cities and towns used to be connected, very connected, right? And everything has changed. Hey, Jan Patterson, you were saying, think we might get the bullet train. Yes, that's the thinking that I share with you, Jan. We already have the Acela, and in other countries like in Japan, they have very quick the super trains. And I'm all for bullet trains. I would also like to have an option of not traveling so fast, slowing down to smell the roses as you're traveling, because some of the countryside is so amazing. I wouldn't want to see it like zip like the Roadrunner, right? Just slow it down a bit. So this is the year that, we're realizing that TSA is not going away. Surveillance is not going away. And the emergency powers are not going to expire. If you were listening to talk radio back then, they were really educating the public about how our society was changing. And a lot of people were resisting in their way. If you listen to, of course, Alex Jones back then, he had me always getting patted down. I didn't want to walk through the X-ray thing, so I opted to go through the other gate where they patted me down. And that was weird. Anyway, airports were becoming behavioral laboratories, and cameras were everywhere. Big Brother and the eye. And suspicion. I was looking at everybody suspiciously on my flights. Were you? Oh, yeah, I was. I'm going to admit to it. I was profiling people on the flight. If you look like the typical archetype of the terrorist, then I'm looking at you a certain kind of way. And I had a lot of weird things happen on flights back then, where people would refuse to turn their phone off, and you have somebody arguing with the flight attendant and they have a beard and whatever, and you're thinking, oh, I'm getting off of this plane. He won't even listen to the first instruction. So it caused a lot of suspicion, because they were telling you, if you see something, say something. Very 1984, right? Like, tell on, you are now the snitch of your neighbor. And it causes a lot of mistrust, and that's the breaking down of our society, and it led to 2020. If we look at it that way, as this retrospective is giving the luxury of making these connections, I can see that this here really set the foundation, if you want to say. Probably not. The foundation was set a long time, of course, probably with the Kennedy assassination, but there is more establishing of the new normal and the control grid. And then freedom was being rebranded as a liability. You don't want to be so free that you become a victim. That's really that's such a psychological operation when you think about it. What has been done to not just Americans, but all of us. This affected the world. Again, if you can have the world get on one accord, then you know something's really strange. Anything that they all agree to, there's no dissension. We know we're dealing with the cabal. So let's look at the next slide. What are you saying, Molly? You said we have the war flag in the U.S. There's also a peace flag that exists, and it's Constitution and Government Capital, which is in Philly, which is why Philly has been seeded with drugs and homelessness. Whoa, that's what Molly just said. Yes, Molly, yes. Don't be sorry for being chatty. I appreciate be chatty in the chatmosphere. That's what the purpose is. Yes, creating fear. You say TSA, pat it down. Your kid's grandmother who was in a wheel. Oh, and missing a limb. That's, oh, that right there. I went off. You know how I am. I went off on a TSA agent because I told you all this story, but let me just revisit it. I'm in line with my daughter, and we're going through the lines and the extra, it was real extra back then. Well, it was like a guy. He was a young man, he looked like he could have been from middle America, clean cut, and he had a prosthetic leg. You wouldn't have known it, but I don't know how they knew it, but they made this man take his prosthetic leg off, and they proceeded to take their wand and they held his prosthetic leg in the air and they're wanding it in front of me. They didn't take him to a room to have a private moment. They did this in front of everyone. And I'm going to tell you, it made me cry. It was so hurtful to watch this man. I could watch his countenance. He was so just deeply embarrassed. It was such a horrible, like the dignity, there was no dignity. And I had tears coming down my eyes watching this. And I just looked at this TSA agent and I told them that this was the most offensive thing to witness. Another American being treated like a criminal and to not be given the dignity of being taken to a private area so you can do what you needed to do with his prosthetic leg. Like, what was he going to do with? Anyway, I will get really heated again if I talk about it too much. I told them off and my daughter was scared, like, oh no, we're going to have an incident. She's going to be taken back. They're going to lock her up. But I couldn't hold it back. I was so done. Wow, Abe is here. Look at that, Abe. How you doing, Abe? Welcome. Oh, it's been a long time. Look at that. It's so nice to see the names from the past. We've been at this a while, right, Abe? It's been a minute. We're still finding each other, which is great. Okay, so now we have this war on terror. Let me get back to my slides, okay? I get off on my tangents. So we have the war on terror becoming a whole business model. We are now going to have this Afghanistan invasion, which they call Operation Anaconda. And Iraq starts getting marketed. And the weapons of mass destruction enters every day. We hear this repeated on loop. And patriotism is performative for some people. It was marketed in a way that it I don't know. I'm really patriotic right now. Some people might accuse me of being performative, but I'm not. I am really, I have the American vibes, and I'm sorry, I'm having a good time and I love it. Sorry that I love America. Sorry that it makes you mad. Okay. All right, back to this. So we have patriotism being performative for some. I'm not saying all. Dissent becomes very un-American. Yes. And fear stops being reactive and it starts being strategic. Or as W would say, didn't he invent a new word? He says strategery. Remember when he says strategery? His presidency was hilarious at some points. When he made up words and stuff, it was so funny. And I can't wait to get to the part of the timeline where the dude threw the shoe at him. Remember? Oh my God. Let me tell you, W could be a lot of things, but he was a G. When that shoe was thrown, remember he ducked and dodged? I think it was 2 shoes, right? What year was that? Who is good with the timeline? When did they throw the shoe at W? Two shoes when he was up at the podium. That was pure comedy. Pure comedy. All right, next slide. Let me see. Anybody remember what year was it? All right, so now we have low grade anxiety. We have some psychological shifts going on, people, in the American mentals, mindset, mental health. 2002 introduces a new emotional baseline. This is constant alertness, background dread, normalized anxiety, and sleepwalking compliance. And that's the terrible thing about fear. It will make you comply with things that you're not thinking fully through. That's why we have to be careful when we have psyops of fear. Whenever you start hearing about a pandemic on the way, hopefully we won't be hearing about those, because Bill Gates has a lot of explaining to do with his Russian hookers. So I think he's a little busy right now. And maybe we won't have some pandemics. Him and his friend Epstein are a little too busy. That's if Epstein is alive. I'm just saying. Some people have spotted him and whatever. He's playing Fortnite. What's going on, people? Okay, let me get off of this level of conspiracies, okay? All right, let me stay focused. Okay, so we have, this is where the anxiety disorders are spiking. You see? And the big pharma is benefiting from the spike in anxiety disorders. You see how everything feeds it, it all feeds it. The demons are having a feast right now. Kids are growing up too fast. It ruins the innocence. So any children of this time period, they have been affected. Humor got darker. Yes. The gallows humor, which I'm a nurse, and we get into some dark humor. Not something I'm proud of, but yeah. And then what else do we have? Irony becomes armor. Irony becomes armor. And 2002 teaches us to, let's see, what are you saying, Karen? Now they're releasing a cure for cancer since those files came out. Wow. I'm excited about all that's coming out. I'm also excited about the people. See, this is so, okay, let me take one more tangent, please. Have you heard about how the young people are putting their minds together, or anybody that's really techie, and they're finding a way to creatively aggregate the Epstein files in a very creative way. So I never imagined that the public would take millions of pieces of data and aggregate it in a way that anybody could just come off of the street and read it and understand it, and it's compressed and it's creatively presented. Have you noticed some of the ways that some people are breaking down the Epstein files, and they're finding connections? And now that we have AI and we have the help of all the technology to take this millions of data points and connect them in ways that you can't do in other time periods. So this is the Most High Yah. This reckoning that's happening is so 5D chess. I mean, it's I'm having the most fun that I've had in a long time. How about you? I am enjoying this timeline, people. I am so happy, and I'm laughing a lot. I'm just laughing a lot. So those natural endorphins are just, this is great, people. But it's not, I mean, it's a mix of things. For some people, it can be great. For me right now, awesome. All right, so 2002 is teaching the body to stay braced. The unredact shoot, and it's every. If you're not on Twitter X, you are not keeping up. I'll say that. If you're not on X, you're not keeping up, people. This is a moment by moment thing. All right, next slide. Vindication after 5 to 6 years. Yes, 5 to 6 long years, Molly. Long years. Okay, so what's going on with our music, our culture around this time? It's a escape versus anger. And the culture is splitting again. We're having a lot of escapism, which is understandable. Pop is getting shinier, the boy bands and all of that, Britney Spears and everything. And we're having a lot of nostalgia ramping up. And fun becomes medicine, which it is now for me. Fun is medicine now. It's like that medicine you grow. All right, so back to anger and realism. Eminem, he is peaking around this time with the Eminem show. Do we have any Eminem fans? And then hip hop is getting sharper. It's like sharpening its teeth. And rock is growing heavier. As you can see, the Libertines, which is interesting, the name Libertines. And the protests are simmering under the surface somewhat. So either like the music is either numbing you or waking you up, which is very emblematic of culture. It's either numbing you or waking you up. So let's look at the next slide. All right, so in film, we have film and TV. We're seeing control and fantasy. So the movies are reflecting this current mood. You have Minority Report. If you remember, I love the whole thing with the sliding of we had this technology. It was all military, of course, but we saw how they were using a lot of advanced tech, or as they say, advanced tech. I don't think it's really advanced. Some of us are of the mindset that the old world had the most advanced tech. So we're looking at predictive policing and surveillance prophecy. And we had born identity. So it's memory loss and state violence. All of these movies were, of course, they were exposing truths. If you look at them now in this retrospective, we glean a lot more from the moment we watched it to now. If we were to revisit and watch these movies, it would be hard to get. We would probably freeze, rewind, because we would catch a lot of things. Because like Molly is saying, this is disclosure, and it was dripping out, just drip, drip, drip. And now it's a flood. It's like I said, if you were in the cities growing up and they opened the fire hydrant, imagine taking a sip of water from the fire hydrant. That's how disclosure is happening now. So yeah. And then we had Spider-Man. And this is the heroism. We have to have an American hero emerge. And that was rebranded for trauma recovery, because they'll change the movie archetypes and whatever. They'll change things up. Lord of the Rings, we had the Two Towers, which is ironic. Two Towers, endless wars, and no clear victory. And that leaves you with a feeling of incompleteness. And we felt that, because when is it going to be an end to the endless wars? We want an end. We want to have an end point, and we want to live in peace. We're tired of the wars. It's war fatigue. And we had 24. I talked about that before. 24 is now making torture entertaining. Because if you remember, I think it had a lot to do with how they had to condition the American mindset to accept the stories that were going to inevitably be released through disclosure of how people were treating, I'll say, prisoners of war, and some of the ways that we get information extract. I'm not going to profess to judge how we do things. I don't understand everything, I'll say that. And when you talk to people who know and have clearance and understand things on a higher level, you realize, some things are above your pay grade and your understanding. And you just have to fall back and just know that God wins. I'll just say that. God wins. So you don't have to get too worried. Right? So, and we have The Wire. Who watched that TV show? I didn't get it. I'm not into those kind of things. I don't know what. They love this show. I know a lot of people talked about The Wire. Who watched it? Hey, Juan, you're saying, Jen, you need to read a book by the name The Paradigm by Jonathan Cahn. Oh, that sounds good. Let me write that down. The Paradigm by Jonathan Cahn. I know that name. Is that the guy that wrote also The Harbinger? Let me know if it's the same man, Jonathan Cahn. Yeah, I remember a name like that, but I don't know if he spelled. Let me know. But I like listening to him. He was saying a lot back then because The Harbinger came out around that time. Thank you for the recommendation. I have a lot of books I need to read. So what else do we have? We have torture as entertainment, The Wire, which is the system being exposed, and there are no heroes, which is daunting and kind of, as they call it, I don't know. It's like, I don't know, not good for optimism if there are no heroes. You need a hero. All right, 2002's entertainment basically asked, how much control is too much? And then there's no answer. It doesn't answer. How much control is too much? All right, next slide. What else is going on 2002? All right, so this is the year of institutionalized fear. And what was introduced in crisis becomes law, policy, habit, culture. From here forward, emergencies never end. Surveillance never rolls back. Temporary becomes permanent. And it teaches the world that trauma can be governed. Next slide. And No Child Left Behind was another platitude and brand project for W. And look at the optics of this No Child Left Behind, the U.S. Department of Education. So how did they do? If we were to score and judge the Department of Education, how have they done? Have they left any children behind? Have they made good on their promises? Because it's time for accountability. How are they doing? And I'm all for the Department of Education being dissolved, as it has been, right? Some of it has. I don't know what's still standing. But this is a department that was started on Jimmy Carter's watch. So we haven't always had the U.S. Department of Education. We basically have school boards in each city and town. They handle their own educational needs and budgets and things like that. When it starts to become a department in the centralized government, you're going to have a lot of corruption, as we know, and a lot of what's the word? A lot of failure. Failure. So the optics here are creepy and cringe. And when you think about No Child Left Behind, what kind of children are in the picture? Why is it always the foundational Black American children that are represented by a lot of these kind of things that are targeted? And I don't play that race card stuff. This is a real thing. We do have racial issues in this nation that need redress. And when you look at a picture like this and No Child Left Behind, why is it always this picture? It's weird at this point. It's strange. It's like, where's Dr. Umar when you need him? Don't you find this suspicious? Next slide. Okay. I find it suspicious. All right, now more suspiciousness. We have the Pope John Paul II, I guess. He had a meeting with church leaders to talk about the sexual abuse of children. That it became a big issue with the church and accountability, a lot of lawsuits being paid out, and they have never recovered. There's no recovering from this. This went on for years and years and years. There's no recovering, hardly. I would think that children should be protected in all institutions, especially the churches, because these are institutions that have hidden abuse for too long. Lots of secrecy, moving people to different parishes, and never any accountability, and just paying off the victims as if money is going to repair them. So this is a sad stain on America. It is something that it is heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. So, I don't even know what else to say. But the reckoning season is here in a big way. Yeah. Next slide. So we have this weird thing about cloning. And I want to talk about it because we hear about cloning a lot now. When you fast forward, it used to sound so out there to listen to anybody talk about cloning. It sounded too science fiction. So if it's that science fiction, we had they cloned the lamb, Dolly the sheep, rather, and we had Barbara Streisand. She cloned her dog. It was in People magazine. It's not conspiracy, alternative sources. You can look it up if you have never heard that story. People magazine covered Barbara Streisand cloning her dog. Yeah. And maybe she's cloned that dog a few iterations. She loved that dog, doesn't want the dog to go all the way to the Rainbow Bridge. I get it. I've loved my pets, but I'm not going to clone any of my pets. I don't have a desire to do that. I'd rather them go to the Rainbow Bridge and wait for me to come and greet them when I get over there. Okay? So, we have, listen to this. If cloning is so, if it's so tinfoil, let me find my notes for this one. All right. So human embryo cloning was banned. But now listen to the caveat. But it is permitted if you use leftover embryos from fertility treatments. So, do you see how there was always a clause in a way that you could go into another back door to do the cloning? And this is happening at this time in Canada. So, our friend 420 Wall Dragon, you might be walking among a lot of clones up there in Canada. I don't know. Because that's where they had the clause where you can use human embryos for cloning if they are left over, again, from fertility treatments, or get this, or abortions. You got it? Or abortions. There you are. What kind of ban is that for real? Are we really banning it if you can use leftover embryos and aborted embryos to do cloning of humans? All right, next slide. And then, oh, wait, before you go to the next slide, we also had in the same year Attack of the Clones. You can't make this up. The movie called Attack of the Clones. I'm done. You can't make this up. I swear you can't. All right. So the next slide we have this art called, now this is really dark. This is a piece of art and the title is, it's horrible. Where did I put it? Bear with me. Thank you for your patience. Has to be right in here. Come on, show up. Where are you? All right, well, if I don't, wow, this is so bizarre. I had it. This is a piece of art. I wanted to tell you who the art is. Oh, here it is. Oh gosh, it was right in front of my face. All right, so this piece of art here is called The Massacre of the Innocents. And it was sold for $76.2 million at a Sotheby auction. I don't know why somebody would want to pay $77 million for a piece of art called The Massacre of the Innocents. I know it has to be connecting to something. It's probably connecting to Epstein. My goodness. All right, let's go forward because, gross. Next slide. Oh, I know Molly. Molly said, I love my dog for a long 19 years. That's a nice long life for a dog. You didn't need to clone her, though she was so sweet. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I get why somebody would want to, because the pain of losing a dog, it's just sometimes too much to handle. So I get it why somebody would want to do it. I understand that part. I told you about the lady. I watched her. Remember, I told you she had her dog. She took her dog to a taxidermist, and the dog is stuffed now, and it's on a shelf in her house. And she takes it down and hugs it. And I can't. I wouldn't be able to do that. You met a woman, Juan, that cloned her dog? Really? Woo. Wow. Bond, you said you never knew that Barbara Streisand cloned her dog. Yeah, cute dog too. One of those Bichon Frise or however you say that name. Cute little doggy. Yes. Unreal. All right, so let's get to this. In 2002, they convicted some KKK members for what happened back in the civil rights era. So this was a bombing of a church, and I'm going to have to take a little, just bear with me a minute. I want to share something that came to me when I thought about this, okay? So they were convicted of this bombing that occurred in 1963. And this bombing was at the 16th Street Baptist Church. And wait a minute, what? Wait a minute. Where was this again? I think this was in the town that Condoleezza Rice grew up in. I think because I remember hearing, hold it a minute. I forgot the city. 16th Street Church. Does anybody know the city that this happened? Oh, it's Birmingham. Oh, yeah. Birmingham, Alabama. So they planted a bomb that killed 4 little girls and injured others. So this was a significant moment in the civil rights movement that drew national attention to the struggle against racial segregation and violence. And what I want to say about this, and I want to connect our current timeline, because we had a stunt that was pulled by the Democratic activist operatives recently in, I think it was St. Cloud or St. Paul, Minnesota, the Twin City to Minneapolis. So they did something very ironic in targeting a mostly white church, and they being black going into a white. You see how very devious these plots are? Let's do an opposite. Let's take black activists, terrorists, in my opinion, and have them terrorize a white church. They didn't bomb it, but when you allow things, I want to say this, when this stuff is normalized and excused, then yeah, what's going to stop anybody from repeating this kind of violence, this level of violence? That's why what Don Lemon did was such a disrespectful thing. Very disrespectful. Because my stepfather actually had some skin in the game when it comes to the civil rights movement. My stepfather went to prison for a sit-in on his college campus. He paid the price for that. What he believed as a young idealistic person who was eating up everything that those Democrats were feeding these young people. Do you see how I feel a way about this? Because my stepfather was a young man. And I spent a lot of time with him when he was dying. And I sensed that he had a lot of regret, that he fell for the lies of the Democratic Party during the civil rights movement, that he was used by them. All this racial, this division is created because when I was spending time with my stepfather and he told me that he grew up on a street with white and black children. He played with white children growing up. I was like, what? You grew up with white children on your street? Everybody got along? But then later on, he gets recruited into the civil rights struggle. He didn't have a struggle. Do you see? This was created, and that's why I feel a way about it right now when I see these 4 little girls that were killed in this church because of democratic violence. This is how they have operated since the inception of this party. They are into political violence because the Dixiecrats are the KKK. These people are the same. And they have terrorized our nation for too long. And the jig is up. And people like Don Lemon, he should repent for what he did based on this right here. These 4 little girls who died in a church bombing because of violence and violent political leanings, radicalized people who think that violence is the way you get what you want. That's Marxism. That's communism. That's how they get what they think they're going to get, a communistic utopia. They want to do it through violence. This is so satanic. And I have had a cross burned on my lawn in Atlanta back in the 70s because my father was married to a Jewish woman. And guess what? The man who burned the cross on our lawn was a Democrat and he was gay. How about a plot twist? He was gay. And he burned a cross on our lawn. So you can miss me with all the bullshit. You can really miss me. Don Lemon needs to repent and apologize. He needs to go to jail, actually. He needs to serve time for what he did. Because nobody needs to feel comfortable having a plan to go in a church and terrorize people. In America? Are you fucking kidding me? I hope he goes to jail and serves a real sentence. And let that be an example to all the Democrat retardeds who want to go around fighting the government. What kind of retard are you? You think you're going to win a fight against the U.S. government? You got to be kidding me. Because you got a church leader right now. You have, what's his name? You have a church leader. What's his name? I just shared it on Facebook. I've got to look it up. I'm so pissed I'm forgetting his name. But I posted it because it's high. Okay. Kirk Franklin. Kirk Franklin has put a call to action out, and he's from the church. Remember, stomp, stomp, all that. He wants the church to go out in the streets and fight ICE right now. Because he said Jesus Christ and his parents were immigrants. That's the reason. Because you know what they want? They want an FBA to be the next, I told you, they need a Black American to be a martyr for this cause. They haven't been able to get a foundational Black American. If you hear the term FBA, I'm going to be using it a lot. And if you have questions, you ask me, because I'll share. And it's very interesting how everything is converging right now. Because they're sending out their Black Boule operatives like they did in the civil rights era, so we can be the crash dummies for their political cause. See, it doesn't work if you have a white woman as your martyr. Renee Good is not going to, she's not going to elicit the emotions that they need to get this thing fully on fire. Renee Good ain't good. They need a foundation, and it won't work if you get a Caribbean. You can't get a Afro Latina. You can't get a no. You can't get an African. You have to have a foundational Black American to be the martyr to give these people what they want. But see, the Most High Yah has had us sit back, look, sit back, eat popcorn. If we see something, we're going to say something. Doot, doot, doot. What's the number for ICE? 1-800-ICE. Hello. I see somebody out here. I think you need to come, ICE. ICE, ICE, baby. Listen, we are pro-ICE, baby. The FBA. Did you know that? FBA are pro-ICE, baby. We can't be deported. We're Americans and we love America. Kurt Franklin can go shop for a bra. He needs to go shop for a bra and shut up. He's not going to get an FBA to come out here to be a crash dummy for the Democrats. Are you kidding? The Most High Yah's not going to allow these people to continue doing what they've been doing to us. It ain't going to work. We see the play now. We know who the real racists are. 1 minute, everybody. Let me see. I got to read it. Oh, I got to read something. Wait a minute. Oh, I'll read that. Can you show it? Marlon has something. Marlon, I just saw your message.
Yeah, let me
wait a minute, guys. Marlon has something to share. You want to read
this, Jennifer? It has to do with Karen Scott. I'd like to meet Karen Scott sometime.
Yes.
She can help us with the new show we're doing, Jennifer.
Oh, Karen is awesome. You got it. Yeah, you got it. Maybe we could do a call. We could talk. Yeah, we'll do that. I'll look for Karen's.
There you go. That right there reminded me to show you this. I just got this in an email today for our podcast we're doing.
Oh, okay. So it's a congratulations, Roku, everybody. Okay, so listen to this. Your Roku channel, The Truth Seekers 88, passed all of our testing and has been published in the channel store in the following regions. Okay, so France, Guatemala, Mexico, Nicaragua, Brazil, Chile, rest of the world. Wow, Colombia, El Salvador, Honduras, Argentina, the United States, yay, Canada, Peru, United Kingdom, Ireland, Panama, Costa Rica. Users in these regions can now add your channel by visiting the channel store or by using the code The Truth Seekers 88. If you wish to update your channel, you may do so at, it's a link. So thank you for choosing Roku. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you, Roku. Congratulations, Marlon. He's been working at this, everyone. And, Marlon is going to keep us updated on what he's doing with the new thing, the new podcast. Yeah, because I want to know everything too, Marlon, and I love it.
Yep. Here we go.
All right, so basically, I have really gone on a tear about how I feel. I've connected it to the current timeline of Don Lemon and Kurt Franklin and what they're trying to do to further their causes, the Democrat plantation and the Dixiecrats that are the real racists in this nation, and what they have done to the foundational Black Americans it should be taken to the Hague. It really should. I'm not kidding. I'm not being hyperbole or anything. I'm serious. What the Democrats and all their operatives have done to my lineage and my ethnic group, the foundational Black Americans, we should take them to The Hague and take a case against them. Because what they're doing to try to erase our ethnicity, that's called a genocide. Do you know genocide doesn't always happen physical death? It can be a paper genocide. And I might have a whole show dedicated to that. If you want me to talk about FBA and the unique claims here in America of my ethnic group, if you want to really have a good, we could do a real good deep dive on it and what we're looking at for the future of America and how it's all tied together. Let me know in the comments. And I'll go on because I could talk about this a lot, but maybe I need to do a special live stream devoted to these issues because they're all connected. And it has a lot to do with the future of America. Yes. So next slide, as you see the little girls, we have Denise McNair, Carol Robertson, Addie Mae Collins, and can you go right back to the other little girl, and Cynthia Morris Wellesley. Next slide. Thank you. I just wanted to. And then 2002 we had Gary Condon. Remember this? We had a congressman who had a girlfriend. He was married, so his lover was, she worked as an aide. And her body was found in Rock Creek Park, one of the parks around DC. So lots of questions. Her name was Chandra Levy. And so her remains were found. Yeah, Rock Creek Park. So yeah, Congress has to be cleaned up. Definitely. Next slide. All right, you talk about how people can be psyoped. This is the most perfect case where you have an American Taliban. Remember this guy, John Walker Lynn? And he flipped in his mind and became a Taliban. How crazy. And he went over to wherever, and he's fighting against his own country. If you think about the level of disloyalty that you would go to another country and fight against your country, I can't imagine that. I've never been in a position to feel that disloyal. And I've had my grievances with America. But to go and think about fighting, I can't. It's just the treachery and treason is off the charts. Hey there, TW artist Jen. Much love, chat, and yes, thank you for joining. It's always so nice to see you, Poet PJ. Thank you. Yeah, so let's look at the next slide. Yes, FBA, Foundational Black Americans. Craziness, like everything that's happening. Now, this is interesting. Do you remember they called this, the news always has their nicknames for events, and they called him the DC Sniper, the Beltway Sniper. Do you remember this period of time? And this happened over a period of 3 weeks. This pair, they named them the like I said, the Beltway Snipers. So John Allen Muhammad, and they called him the sidekick, the young man. It was, I don't understand it all, but what I want to say is a friend to the chat, Ital Iman. Do you remember I did a live stream back in 2020 with Ital Iman? He is such an amazing man. And I didn't realize this is a book. He wrote this book called Word is Bond, The Trial of John Allen Muhammad. Can you? I was so surprised to see this. So I would love to read his book and just to hear him. I might look it up because I think he has a channel. He might have a video talking about this book. But it was it's such a small world, as they say, to see him as the author. So yeah, this is a story that I don't understand completely, but I know that John Allen Muhammad, he did get executed for this. So this was a really, Molly is saying it's all going to be rectified. Our children will have amazing lives ahead. Yes, yes, yes. I agree. Next slide. So this is the year that a member of the rap group Run DMC, so we had Jam Master Jay, he was killed. He was shot in his studio, or a studio. He was coming out of the studio. Karen probably knows the details. Karen, drop it in the chatmosphere. Was he in the studio or exiting the studio, Jam Master Jay, when he was executed, I'll say? And I bet it's such a rabbit hole to the whole thing. Like, when I look at these pictures, I get a bad feeling from the industry as a whole and all of the people that have been taken away before their time. This industry is so horrible and in need of reform. The music industry, it's disgusting. So this was the year that, yeah, Jam Master Jay was killed. Next slide. And not only Jam Master Jay, but the guy that has the Kangol hat in the back, he has suffered something also with his vocal cords. I think he has something where they freeze up and he can't really, it's something about his vocal cords. It's very strange. Hey, the guru is here. You said Jam Master Jay was definitely a sacrifice. Okay, there you are. Karen says it was inside the studio. Oh my, that's horrible. Inside of a studio? Okay. Now, this was something I didn't know. Did you all know this? I don't pay attention, obviously, enough to the so-called royal family. Sorry for you UK people. I'm sorry. So we have Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. Were you all paying attention to this? The Queen Mother, Queen Elizabeth, who was 101 years old in 2002, she died. She's the mother to the other queen. I didn't know we had a mother queen, the Queen Mother, and the queen over there in 2002. Did you all know this? I'm just saying, I don't know how I missed this. We had two queens, and one died, and they say that the other one, she began her golden jubilee. Isn't that something? Her jubilee. I'm a little confused about how she gets a jubilee. Where's Oprah when you need her? For her to give you get a jubilee, you get a jubilee. Next slide. I don't understand this. And she's going to have what? She gets a jubilee and we don't? So this is her jubilee. I'm wondering how did she pull this off? And what did this entail for her to have a jubilee looking like Cinderella's? Look at her in her coach. What a life. All right, we're going to have to break the spell of this so-called royal family. I think it's been broken, but I watched some people that live over in England, and they love the royal family so much. If you say anything against them, they take offense. They really love these people, and they believe all the hype. But you know what's breaking the okay. What has broken the Overton window with this royal, so-called royal family? It took Epstein. I guess it wasn't enough that stories about children in Canada disappearing, right? That wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to see a man coming out of the window using a bed sheet naked, right? Just about naked, allegedly, right? It could have been AI. I don't know. He was climbing out of the window, like trying to run for his life. Oh, that was normal. But guess what? Hold on, people. We're not finished yet, because the reckoning is going to wreck them. And I mean Jeffrey Epstein. They're being Epsteined. And that would be Andrew. So they're not going to be able to wipe the baby oil off of them. The royal family has been disgraced. They are not who they claim they are to be. They are not. And Prince, so-called Andrew, and his Epstein connection is going to rock that family and going to rock them out off of those thrones. That's my prediction. Yeah. Because you can't keep covering up and image crafting, because that's what these people are all into, their image, not into being a good person for real. Like, who are you when the cameras aren't on you? What are you doing in your private time? How should you deserve to be called royalty when you have these dark secrets? No, nobody's going to be able to have any influence anymore. Nobody's going to have any power if they are not living clean when the cameras are off, when they are by themselves. If they're not a good person when they're by themselves, then they cannot be a leader in our society and our culture. They are not to be looked up to. The only people that we are to look up to are people that really live a decent life, that can stand up to scrutiny. Otherwise, just sit down and be a weirdo and get out of public offices and get out of our faces with all this jubilee talk. Next slide. Am I angry? All right, so this is the year that, okay, yeah. Did you know, I don't remember this, but maybe I do. Jimmy Carter and Rosalind went over to Cuba. They were hanging out with my uncle Fidel Castro. Yeah. And and Jimmy Carter got a Peace Prize this year. So what did he accomplish? Because nothing happened to open up Cuba for the Cuban people. So what was Jimmy doing and Rosalind with old Fidel? I wonder. Because I think the president who's going to have the history of Cuba opening up is going to be none other than President Donald Jaquavius Trump. I think it's going to go on his record. I'm just predicting, but you could hold me to it. Next slide. That's my prediction. And this is the year that one of our favorite African Americans, okay, you see how I did that? I am not an African American. I'm a foundational Black American, but Elon Musk is an African American. Do you see how that works? Do you see how that just worked? And Elon Musk is one of our favorite African Americans, isn't he? So he started SpaceX in 2002. Wasn't that convenient? This is space exploration technologies. Look at Elon back in 2002. Look at that. Huh? Look at that. He's got a whole mariachi band. Elon is one of the good nerds, okay? He's not trying to get revenge on the world. He's just trying to party and have a good time. So he wasn't bullied as a kid, I guess, right? He's a fun nerd. He's my kind of nerd. All right, next slide. Because Twitter, if it weren't for him buying Twitter, I don't know where we would have Kamala as president. Can you imagine? I really believe that. I'm not making this up. I really think if he had not have opened up free speech, we would be looking at Kamala and Tampon Tim, and we'd have Somalians everywhere. Oh, we would leer so much everywhere, leering. Okay, now we have the American Idol, which I don't like the name at all, but Kelly Clarkson was one of our first American Idols, broken in this, this franchise. I like Kelly Clarkson. My mother loves Kelly Clarkson. She watches her. And Kelly's sweet. I like Kelly. I have to say, I think she's a decent woman. I think her husband did her dirty. I'm not sure, allegedly. I think she's a decent lady. What do you think? I don't think you'll find her involved in anything crazy. That's just what I think. I could be wrong, but that's what I think. Next slide. Let's see what else is going on. Oh, this is the year where Reid Hoffman, he started LinkedIn. Look at that. He probably has a story of he started it in a garage or something. What is his origin story? So this guy is named Reid Hoffman and LinkedIn. Who likes LinkedIn? I'm kind of like, boring. I don't know. LinkedIn seems really woke to me. Is it? I don't know. It seems really woke. Next slide. All right, and this is the year we really did see a perp walk for Enron. So this guy was perp walked Andrew Fastow. He was indicted on 78 counts of wire fraud, money laundering, conspiracy, and obstruction of justice. And this was related to the collapse of Enron. So these guys lived it up. It was a short run. I think that he has pivoted now that he's served his time and he's out. And I think he does speaking engagements. I don't know. Next slide. I think he has pivoted pretty well. He's okay. And this is the year we had the discovery of this thing called the Nebra Sky Disk. So they claim this is from the Bronze Age, everybody. This makes me so, I'm like, well, roll your eyes, the Bronze Age. Okay, whatever, whatevs. But it's fascinating, right? This is a disc that's supposed to be of an ancient bronze, ancient people. I think this is all a psyop in a way because I can't get my mind around them showing me a bunch of pottery and all of this stuff and bones and pottery. And then they're telling me that these people built pyramids but they have pottery, like that's the best they can do is pottery. What the hell is this? I feel like they've given me crazy pills. It's all really crazy. The Bronze Age. Okay, next slide. And they'll say millions of years, and so you'll be lost in time, right? You don't know what's going on. All right, so this is the year that they found some illuminated manuscripts that they had to keep in a, some kind of controlled climate vault to conserve it, okay? And from the 1300s. Now, I love the illuminated manuscript art. I love it. Do you? Where they paint with real gold. And I had a book that was illuminated when I was a little girl. It was a book that I lost, but it was illuminated. I told you all about it. It was a children's book that I got when I was a little girl in Cuba. One of my Russian caregivers gave me a big children's book, and it was illuminated. I'll just say that. And I lost it. Long story. All right, next slide. Anyway, I get off on so many tangents. My goodness. All right, so this is the year that the international, and this is where FBA should take their claims against whoever has been trying to check this out. In 2002, the International Criminal Court was established over in The Hague. And this is the International Criminal Court. And they prosecute genocide, war crimes, crimes against humanity and the crime of aggression. So people, when we think about moving forward with what has been revealed and the people that have been doing things against children and women and any men, anybody, humans, people should take cases out now with the International Court, the International Criminal Court in The Hague, Netherlands. And like I said, I'm starting to feel a certain way with the way the Democratic Party wants to push illegal immigration. It harms foundational Black Americans because they want us to be diluted down. They want to call us incorrectly African Americans, and they want to erase the foundational Black Americans. Do you see why it's very important for us to stand up for ourselves and not allow these people to continue to identify us and to lump us in and flatten us? Because that is a form of genocide. That is serious. Because I come from an ethnic group in America. We have a unique claim here in America. And for what the Democratic Party is doing to my ethnic group here in America is a form of genocide. And I mean what I say. I'm serious about it. And the Most High Yah, He has a heart for my prayers. And I'm going to be intensifying my prayers. And I would welcome you to be in agreement with my prayers, because it will benefit America. And I'll leave that there for now, because I do want to have a special FBA live stream, and I want to cover a lot of this. This is not hyperbole. This is really serious stuff. Next slide. So this is the year that the Rolling Stones, they did a concert in New York City, and they had a blimp, a Rolling Stone blimp. I thought that was pretty cool because I'm really into the airships, and just this was creative. I have to give it to Mick and everybody. That was pretty dope. So they had a blimp flying all around New York. Do you remember this, Karen? Did you see a big yellow blimp with this mouth? This mouth. Let me know. It looks like Cardi B flying up there. Cardi B. She's in a lot of trouble, by the way. She's going to have the government probably investigating her. She said something really stupid at her concert about ICE, if you haven't heard. She got herself, her mouth got her possibly in some real trouble. Real trouble. Next slide. So this is the year that Halle Berry and Denzel Washington won Oscars for roles that were very corrupt. And I don't celebrate this kind of stuff. This is very corrupt. Halle Berry, she did all of this work, and the only thing they acknowledged her by giving her an Oscar was when she played the worst, like, degrading role in Monsters Ball. It was so degrading and so cringe and horrible. She's a beautiful woman. She looks stunning. Stunning. But the role that she had to play to get this Oscar, I could not co-sign this. I was very sad, actually, because I thought a lot of Halle and just stunning beauty. I didn't like to see this for her. I didn't. I think she's got more. I thought she was more. Okay. And then even with Denzel Washington, he played all of these amazing roles. And the one that Hollywood acknowledges him for in this way is when he plays a criminal. He's playing a street criminal, thug, Training Day. So they acknowledge him for that. And this is the year that Venus and Serena had their sister match, and Serena beat Venus. And we had Dr. Phil come on the scene. He emerged with all of his funny things. Dr. Phil is so funny. Some of his Dr. Philisms. Let me see if I can find a Dr. Philism. Let's do it for kicks and giggles. I could probably find one. I bet they probably have them in here. Dr. Let's find a fun Dr. Philism. Because they are hilarious. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Oh, let's see if they. Okay. Dr. Phil quotes: "If someone out there doesn't agree with me, then somewhere a village is missing their idiot." And then here's another Dr. "You can't put feathers on a dog and call it a chicken." Okay, that's enough. I could go on and on with Dr. Philisms. Okay, so this is the year that we had the reality show, The Osbournes, which I watched. I watched The Osbournes. Did you? Come on and admit it. I was very entertained by The Osbournes. And also, this is the year that Doris, the lady right here, Doris Roberts, you remember her from Everybody Loves, what is it? Everybody Loves, gosh, I like that show. Can't remember the name, but she's been in a lot. She's had a long career. She has since died. But Doris Roberts went to testify before Congress about ageism in Hollywood. So she suffered from a lot of ageism. Next slide. Oh, Everybody Loves Raymond. Thank you. How did I forget that? Okay, so that's where we are with the rewind of 2002. I guess that's it. Right? Let me see. Did we miss anything? Did we miss anything, Marlon? I think we covered it. I think we got it. One more in the can, everybody. We're rewinding this timeline. We're going to keep at it. Thank you for joining. I really appreciate everybody in the chatmosphere. Love to you. If you're joining late, I hope you enjoy it. Even a rewind. Give it a nice rewind and give me some comments, suggestions, feedback, and all that good stuff. Thanks, Jan Raymond. Yes. Okay. So I will see you soon. Oh, Wyoming Chick is here. If you dropped in and I didn't get to say hello, I just want to say hello and thank you to everybody. Love you all. Take good care. Hey there. And I will talk to you soon. And if you are on Instagram or Facebook, look for me because I do a lot more on Instagram. I have to say, I do a lot more. Juan, thank you. All right, so I'm out now. Take care. Thank you, Marlon. Take care, Marmar. We'll see you soon for the next one, 2003. Whoa, we're getting there.